live for the last time for this Rock Licks course. So today we're going to be doing is having a Q&A. I've got Instagram going, and again, Instagram, you're going to hear the room sound. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, you're going to hear it through the studio, so through all my gadgets and things, so it'll sound better on there. But if you are on, hey everybody, hey, if I point down here, it's because I'm looking at Instagram, and if I point up here, it's because I'm looking at everybody else. So hello for everybody that's here. We're just going to be doing a Q&A today. Hey, Carl. And Kusamano, sorry if I rabid, 6666. See, I can actually see this. This is why I chose this way, so I can see everybody's comments here. Perfect. Aiden is here. Freddie is here. Rasta Kaz is here. Sam is here. Noah is here. Michael Bay, again from the UK. How you doing, bud? Gina is here. Hi, Gina. Freddie, Hanzo, Steve. Another Steve, Matthew. Hey, Robert is here. Hey, Robert. I know you've been on a couple of times and I didn't get to say hi to you, so I'm glad that you showed up a little early so I could see you there. Wizard 1985. It's a little bit harder for me to read on Instagram, but hey, everybody. So glad you're here. So what we're going to be doing today, I do believe we're giving away 5 more. Let's see here. Yeah, it sounds like we're going to be doing 5 more giveaways of the membership today. So if you've been on any of these, you know we've been giving away 5 Guitar Zoom memberships. So we're going to do that again today. But the first thing we want to do is just try and get to some of your questions. Now, again, please understand, I apologize because I'm not going to get to a fourth of the questions. I just won't. It's, we already have, well, we don't have too many. It looks like about 300 on right now through all the various channels. But as we keep going, usually that doubles or triples. So it gets very difficult to try and get to everybody's questions. But I am absolutely going to try and answer your questions. So I want to remind you, though, that if you are on Facebook or YouTube or wherever, there will be a link for you to check out the Rock Licks Limited Edition DVD. That's what we've been talking about for the last few sessions. Let's see here. Is there a way to reverse the camera? It's a mirror image. I don't think so. I mean, maybe there is before I start, but I don't think there's a possibility of doing that now. So we'll just have to deal with it, and I'll see about trying to change that because I don't think I can. I apologize, but maybe you can before that. I can use a mirror. Well, you could do that for sure. So anyway, make sure that you check out the Rock Licks DVD, see if it's something that you're interested in, and see if something that can help you, and we'll keep going here. So Pete is here from Blackpool. Bernard is here. Charles is here. Gabriel is here. Jack is here. Ankur is here. And Kareem is here. Captain Jack Plastic is here. Very cool. All right. Yes, it's Stine time, Daywalker. That's nice. I'll show that because that's always makes me smile. That's funny. Lightfoot is here. Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to do the best I can here to try and get to some questions. And Mike Rudolph is here. Hey, Mike. Let's see here. Jay Murph says, Steve has single-handedly changed my guitar playing for life. You are most welcome. I'm very, very blessed to be able to help people. It's awesome. It's a great thing. So let's see here. Let's see what Freddie says. Freddie says, when you do 1-4-5 progressions with 7ths, how do you connect them together? I'm not sure what you mean by that. When I do 1-4-5 progressions with 7ths. I mean, if you're talking about the chords, I would play, for instance, like G7 and C7 and D7. Rabbit says, my 70% of guitar is due to Steve. That's awesome. Thank you, bud. So I'm not sure if that's what you mean, Freddie. But there's lots of ways of connecting that idea together. I mean, you might just play 2 strings and play these 2 strings that make up G7, and these 2, move it back 1, you've got C7, and move it up 2, and you've got D7. How to play solos over chord changes, which a lot of people ask about that all the time. So let's see here. That was Avinash 26. How to play solos over chord changes. Well, the big thing is you've got to be aware of the chord changes, and then you've got to have a plan. Now, hopefully you joined us in Wednesday's session because that's exactly what we were talking about. There's a lot of different ways that you can approach soloing over different chords. One way is there's a lot of different terms I use for things, but chord chasing, where there's a couple different approaches that you can use to chord chasing. Let's say you're playing over an E minor chord, right? So an E minor comes up, and you have to decide what you're going to do. Well, the first thing you do, and again, if you've been joining me for any of these live sessions, you analyze your situation. You think about the tempo, the groove, the key, the scale that you know or you are going to utilize, and positionally, where do you know whatever it is that you're thinking about on the fretboard? You might know it all over the fretboard. You might not, okay? But that's something to think about a little bit. So if I thought about E minor and I went, okay, well, all I really know is E minor pentatonic. So that's all I know is E minor pentatonic. So I go up there for the E minor. Well, then the C chord comes up. Okay, well, C comes up, so what am I going to do? Well, one thing I could do would be to go to C major pentatonic. So if I know where C major pentatonic is, I could put that there, okay? And then let's say G major comes up. Well, then I got to think, okay, well, where's G major? Well, G major and E minor are the same thing, if you know that. And if you don't, it's okay. Okay, and then let's say it goes to A minor. Okay, well, then we go to A minor. I'm thinking of this because I have this chord progression. Let me pull this up here and show you this. There's my C, G, A minor. Okay? The only thing about doing that is that it sometimes can force you to move around the fretboard a lot. And so if you can compile those things into one place, and this is the second approach of chord chasing, is maybe you use E minor pentatonic or something, or maybe you use a larger scale like E minor diatonic, and you start thinking about all of those chords. So if E minor comes up, you try and emphasize something that connects to the E minor. Like I'm directing my movement toward that E. I could have went to some other note of the E minor chord, right? I've got an E minor chord sitting right there, so I could emphasize any of those notes at any time. Well, if the C chord comes up, then maybe I go here, and then the G chord comes up, and then A minor comes up. Now watch how that works. So if I start all over again here and do that, and you'll notice when I do that, it gives the solo purpose. Again, we're not getting flashy at this point. We're just making something that makes a connection. So that's a really great way of being able to do that. Okay, let's keep going here. What makes... Oh, this is a great question, although I really can't answer it. What makes a great player virtuoso? I don't live with those kind of terms. You know, it's like I was listening to some radio station on Sirius XM yesterday, and they kept using the term musical genius to people that I'm not sure that I would consider to be a musical genius. You can be incredibly, incredibly good at what you do, but I don't know that that makes you a genius. I don't know. So when it comes to things like a virtuoso, you know, where's the line between not virtuoso and virtuoso, right? Because everybody likes different things, and everybody has different wants and needs when it comes to guitar playing. So I try and avoid things like mastery, although I mean, I have used that term before, but I try and be careful with it, or virtuoso or professional. That's another term that just drives me insane. A professional, you know, I mean, in the business world, professional kind of means you're getting paid, but just because you're getting paid doesn't make you a professional. I mean, so I just try and kind of watch out for some of those terms. So for me, I think good is good. I'm sorry, I can't really answer it any better than that, but that's how I think about it. It's just good is good. That's what you got. What's the difference between a C9 and a C add 9, John? A C9 has the 7th in it. A C add 9 does not have the 7th in it. So if you have a C9, you're playing the root, 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th. If you're playing a C add 9, you're playing the root, 3rd, 5th, and then the 9th. Okay? Greetings from Germany. Hello there. Yeah, Rabbit66 says, such terms kill the joy of learning. Yeah, I try and watch that stuff because, again, there's there's you enjoying what you do, and then there's us enjoying what you do, right? That's what this is all about. That's what music is you ultimately enjoying whatever it is that you do, and then us, the audience, the listener, enjoying what you are doing. And then the rest of it is just labels we put on things to call whoever I don't remember who the artist was they were talking about being a musical genius, but I don't know. I don't know. I just try and avoid that kind of stuff. So sorry, that probably doesn't answer your question, but let's see here. On the lesson, is there more close-up work on your fretboard fingering? On the lessons, is there more close-up work on your fretboard fingerings? Well, I use multiple camera angles on all of my lessons, except when I do this live stuff because I've got a lot of stuff going on. But when I do courses, a lot of times it'll change to a close-up of the fretboard, things like that. Let's see here. This is off Instagram. You're really amazing. I just watched one video of yours and literally changed my guitar techniques and improved my skills within a week. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. That's great. Let's see here. Lorraine. Oh, here we go. We'll just say hello to Lorraine. Hello, Lorraine. And let's see. We'll keep going here. You're all saying really nice things. This is awesome. I appreciate your kindness. I appreciate you being here. If it wasn't for you, I'd be working at Best Buy right now, so I appreciate that. And not that I have anything against Best Buy, because I love Best Buy. Anyway, I digress. What strings do I use? I have used GHS boomers for many, many years, and I've changed to different kinds of strings. I always get excited about trying new things, so I change to other strings, and then I always wind up just coming back to GHS boomers. So that's what I use, and it's just a personal preference. Are they better than other things? I don't know. It's just they're. I've played them for so long; they're very comfortable. Trying to get into more of the steel kind of strings, M steel, and all those things. I tried things, and then I just always ultimately wind up going back. The one thing I do love about GHS is not the reason I got into GHS boomers, but what I love about them now is that they have a lot of half sizes. So like they have 9.5 or 10.5, different kinds of things like that, which I really love. And then the other thing I love is they have thin and thick core. So like, for instance, I have a guitar that I've got the 6-string tune down on. It's standard tune, but the 6 string's just in drop tuning. So, and again, all my guitars are different. It depends on how if the tremolo is really loose, if it's got a tremolo or a stock bridge, if it's 24 fret versus 22 fret, all these things make a difference on the way they feel to me. As far as, gauge goes. But with the thick and the thin core, what I like about those is that they just bump up the thickness a little bit on the thicker strings, or they thin them out a little bit on the thicker strings. So there's lots of different varieties, which is why I really love GHS, is I can really target in. I don't have my phone sitting here. I don't know what I did with it, but I actually have in my phone, I have Notes, that's an app in the iPhone, and I keep track of all my tunings for all my guitars. That way, if I go to one and I have to change the strings, or I want to change to something else, I can look in there and go, oh, this is what I had on there. And then I can change it and put something else on there. So that's what I use for strings. Hopefully that answers your question. How's the metal course coming along? It's okay. What I need to do with that metal course, which I could certainly use your opinion on, is I need to find a kind of a purpose of the course. Whether it's a rhythm course, a beginner course, a songwriting course, which is what I was kind of working on. But, any advice you can give me on, or any opinions anybody can give me on what you'd like to see for content for guitar courses, I always love to hear that kind of stuff. Let's see here. Is it okay to think of one key signature scale rather than the individual scales when the chords change? Sure it is. It's perfectly fine. How much, if you down tuning, can you do with a D'Addario 10 to 52? Well, it kind of depends on, like with a 10, because I use fairly light strings, a 10 gauge set, I could go down to a whole step tuning. Depending on the guitar, I could go down to a whole step tuning with that. I wouldn't probably go any further than that, but I could get down there, because sometimes, like right now on this guitar, I've got 8.5 gauge strings. But it's not always that way. Now that summer is here, I'll probably wind up switching this back to a 9 gauge set. So if you think about it, I always think like, if I tune standard, I'll run 9 gauge. If I tune a half step down, 9.5. If I tune a whole step down, 10. That's just a generalization, but that's kind of the way it works. But then it also depends on, like I said, the length of the neck, that sort of thing. You know, I might go, like on my Paul Reed Smiths, they always go a little bit heavier because the necks are a little bit shorter, right? The scale length is a little bit shorter. So on a 12-bar blues when soloing. Oh, okay, so we're back on that dominant 7th thing. Well, it doesn't change anything for me. The 7th is just a note that I can utilize within the context of my solo. So if I'm playing, like I said, if I was playing rhythm, G7, C7, D7, I'd be perfectly fine with. But, you know, again, blues, like anything else, if I was playing blues, I might play in G minor, adding the 7th. And then the major 3rd. And then when the C chord comes up, you know, I might do something that's specific to that C. Like go up to C minor pentatonic and utilize the major 3rd and the dominant 7th. You know, things like that. It just depends. Like, let me pull this up once here. I'll just try and play a little slower here so I don't... See, so again, like everything else we've been talking about, I'll go back and forth between slow and fast and high and low and fast and slow and loud and soft and all these things, but definitely doing some of this chord chasing thing where I move around thinking about a G7 and then here's my C and then back to my G and then maybe the D comes up. C, G. Right, something like that, whatever it might be. Okay? Let's see. I have purchased some of your lessons and get more extremely helpful. That's awesome. Okay, let's see here. When doing vibrato, let's see what this says. What guitar would you suggest for rock and metal? I've always been an Ibanez guy, but I just bought a Charvel that I really love, that I use for lots of different things. So I think it depends. I mean, there's lots of, for me, you know, Charvel, ESP, Jackson, you know, and then all the new ones like Kiesel and, you know, there's a lot of really great guitars out there that would work great for rock and metal. I'm an Ibanez guy, so that's kind of what I use. So let's see here. When doing vibrato, do you press on the string with the same pressure as when fretting a normal note? Yeah, I mean, I do. So if I was doing vibrato, I don't press any harder or any softer. If I press softer, of course, the string's going to die, right? So I have to maintain that pressure. Would a Fender work? Fender could work. I mean, there's metal guys out there that play Fender. Fender's never been my guitar of choice, so I don't really have that as a reference. I own a Fender, a couple of Fenders, but you know, that's my love has always been in these thinner necks of the Ibanez. That's kind of where I live. And but can you make a Fender work as a metal guitar? Absolutely, absolutely, of course. Okay. Wonderful guitars. Just, you know, we all have our preferences is all, but I think Fenders are amazing. I just find comfort in the guitars that I play. Let's see here. Do I do bend or slide guitar? Do I bend or slide guitar? Oh, I see. When you play Scuttlebutt, and I haven't played Scuttlebutt in years, so I'm not even sure what I would do. I'm sure I did slides for that, I would think, but it's been a long time. Let's see here. If I can ask today, I wish to view from you on more detail how to tremolo pick on 2 or 3 strings. Well, the most important thing is there's two parts to tremolo picking. There's the tremolo pick, and then there's the shift, right? And the most important thing is knowing whether or not you're shifting on a down or an up, just like if you were, just like if you were playing something that isn't just tremolo picking, but that's actually designed like that. You have to know, at least to a certain degree, whether or not you're shifting on a down or shifting on an up to make it feel comfortable. Right? So you got to kind of get comfortable with what that is. In blues, what can you play over the 5 chord? Well, in the 5 chord, let's say you're in the key of G. Obviously, you could play G minor, G major, right? Or another thing that you could play would be something in D, D minor, D major, because that's the 5 chord. Whether it's pentatonic, whether it's diatonic. Diatonic, you could certainly use Mixolydian would be a great thing to use. Dorian would be a great minor one to use for that. Okay. Let's see. At 54, I didn't think I could improve. Thanks, Steve. My fire's back. That's awesome. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to go over here and see what we got for some questions, because the guys from GuitarZoom are helping me out here with finding some questions as well, which I see I've got some of these already. Okay, so remember, if the link comes up for the Rock Licks thing, you can certainly check it out and see what you think of it. See if it's something that you're interested in. Let's see. John says, how can I speed up my playing? I keep hearing play slow and accurate and speed will come, but it's not happening. Am I just too old at the age of 60? Well, you're not too old, but it does require some patience. But I'll give all of you a bit of advice that I always tell people when it comes to playing fast. The most difficult thing about playing fast is accuracy, right? I mean, that's what it is. If we just... then it doesn't sound like anything. So it always comes down to accuracy, right? But I'll tell you this, when you practice things, depending on what it is that you're trying to do, there's two ways to try and kind of attack an exercise. Now, please understand that there are finger exercises that I've been doing for 30 years, literally. And I mean, you just don't everything doesn't always just get incredibly fast just because you do them. You just, there's I think for all of us, there's a point where we kind of cap off on our ability with different things. In terms of speed or accuracy. It's just the way we're built, right? Some people can run incredibly fast. Some people can run sort of fast. Some people can't run fast at all. Some people speed walk. Everybody's different that way, okay? But what I will tell you is sometimes when you're practicing something, if you're trying to make it fast, there's two ways of approaching this, and both of them should be done trying to get as clean as you can out of it. But think of it this way. You're working from the bottom up, and you're going to work from the top down. And some people don't realize you can work from the top down. So let's say you're trying to work on a pattern, right? So you're trying to... So you've got your metronome set, and you're going... And you keep trying to do that over and over and over, and you keep trying to speed it up, whatever it is that you're trying to work on. And it's getting there slowly but surely, but you've got a long way to go, right? And you got to keep doing it. Listen, nobody said this was easy. That's the beauty of this guitar is that I always tell people the guitar will win. We will die before we get the guitar figured out, okay? The guitar will win. That's just the way it is. But we can enjoy the journey while we can. So with this, though, what we can start doing is doing what I call bursting, which is playing faster than we're capable of playing. But sometimes we can play faster. So let's say we've been working slowly and we're up to about 130 beats a minute, and we just can't get to 140 or 135 or whatever it might be. Okay? But what we do is we start on the top side, and without the metronome to begin with, we just start trying to burst out notes. And maybe when you first start doing this, it's not going to sound very clean. Maybe, whatever it might be, however I can try and make that sound. But maybe it's not very clean, but the more you practice it, and notice I'm not doing the whole pattern. I'm just trying to connect from one string to the next string. So normally when I do this slow, I got to play that because it sounds like Addams Family. Anyway, again, my brain goes all over the place. So as I'm doing this, right, I'm doing it slow, I'm doing it with the metronome, making this connection, but now I'm going to burst. So what I'm doing is trying to line it up a lot faster. No metronome, just... And I don't have to keep doing it over and over and over in a sequence. I can just try and do that and then stop and get ready again. Do it again, get ready. And just keep trying to burst that thing out. Now, once I've kind of got that dialed in, maybe, I can keep going. Maybe I do the whole thing or whatever. But once I start doing that, I've got two things capable. Number one, I've got this speed idea that could exist in free time over a thing. And if you remember on Wednesday, I talked about this, how sometimes you play in a structured groove where you're playing along quarter note, eighth note, 16th, that sort of thing. And sometimes you play in free time. You'll hear Paul Gibbert do that. You'll most certainly hear guys like Yngwie Malmsteen do that or Steve Vai do that, where they'll just do this flurry of something where it's not ticka 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 all the time. There's just a flurry of something. So we could use this bursting idea in that. The second thing we could do with that is we could assign the metronome to figure out where we are in our speed when we're bursting. So what really happens is you wind up with this gap in the center where you can play down here with the metronome at a certain speed, and then you can play up here at a certain speed, and then there's this gap, and we all have it. Okay, everybody's got this black hole in the center here where it's really hard to play at these speeds. And those are the ones that we struggle with. And that's what we continue trying to work on. But you certainly could try and do that a little bit. Okay, let's see here. Hey, Steve, I got the catch. I'll check with that new guitar strap attitude. I lose you. Your strap locks is very sturdy work. Well, again, for me, if you caught me this morning, I was talking about, which I don't have the guitar strap on, but D'Addario makes these new guitar straps now where it clips onto anything from a strap lock to a standard peg. Anything, it'll clip onto it and it'll hold it. So instead of having a guitar strap that's specific to a particular kind of peg and a clip, because I always clip mine too. I don't like my, guitar strap to accidentally fall off or something like that, which I have had happen. And I won't ever do that again. They make a generic kind of clip now, D'Addario does, that just clips on any kind of peg and holds it in place. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking about. Let's see, Daywalker says, is there an easy way to identify other shapes for other chords in the same area of the neck? Yeah, if you know the cage system, that's a really great thing to do, is to know the cage system. So, for instance, if you were playing E minor here, C, and you could think, okay, well, C is here. And G, well, G is, let's do G. Where do we want to do G? Yeah, let's do G here. And then A minor we could do here. So we could move around playing these. So if I'm playing it all in one place, I'm thinking E minor. And then here comes C. Right, sitting right there. And then G comes up. And then A minor comes up. And then back to E or whatever it is you want to do. What do I think about Vinnie Vincent? I don't know. Vinny, I'm a big Kiss fan, so I mean, Vinny back in the day, I dug. When he went on his own and did all of his own, I wasn't really a big fan of all that kind of stuff. But, my love of players more lies in like Neil Schon, Andy Timmons, Steve Lukather, those kind of players. So, I mean, but I don't know him personally, so I don't know anything about him. But let's see, problems with rotating guitar pick between my fingers. There really aren't any tricks. There are things, Tom, that you can do, like you can buy grip stuff that you put on the pick, or you can buy picks that have like this kind of chalky substance on them, things like that. Or you can get picks like mine. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it very well, but it's got my name on there, and it's embedded in there, right? So you can grab it, you can feel that, and it kind of grips around it. So those are things that you can do, but I guarantee you just over time, you won't, like there was a time in my life where the pick constantly shifted around. It turned all the time. And then there was a point in my life when it never did it ever again. Like it literally never happens anymore. And not because I changed picks or something like that. It's just after a while, your grip, you figure it out and it doesn't tend to happen that much anymore. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I'm going to go over to Instagram. Let's see. Oh, cool. Well, thank you. Thanks for being here. Flow by Dunlops are great picks. Hey, that's perfect. Yeah, whatever works for you. I tend to use these Hawk guitar picks. I really like these. When I run out of these, I tend to use these Dunlop Petrucci ones. And there's two different kinds that he's got, but these are the ones that I really like. But they don't last as long. Like I'll go through one of these picks. I'll wear down the tip on these picks in a couple of days, 3 days maybe. And so I tend to go through them pretty quick. And yeah, I know you can try and sharpen them and things like that. I don't do that. I just donate them to guitar students and things like that when the tips wear out of them. Because I like to have a very sharp tip on the guitar pick. So that's what I do with those. Does hand size make a difference in ability? Yeah, but if you ever get the chance to meet me or we meet, I've got the smallest hands you've probably ever experienced because I'm a small person. So, I just always thought you make things work no matter who you are, no matter what God gave you to start with, you figure out how to do this. So that's how I approach this stuff. So again, are there things that I can't do that maybe somebody with fingers like Steve I can do? Probably, but I've never thought about that. I just do what I do, however I do it to make things work. So when I go to play, I'm not trying to, do something that's impossible for me. I'm doing things that are probable and trying to make those better, if that sort of makes sense. Let's see here. I'd like to know what make and model this is. This is a 92 Ibanez Gem 7DBK, I think it's called. Something like that. I think that's what it's called. Anyway, let's see here. Okay, we're good over there. Scott is here. Hey, Scott. How you doing, buddy? The family is good. I hope you're doing good. I've seen some of your posts on Facebook. Looking good, by the way. Let's see here. Let's see what Jason says here. Jason says, comparison is the thief of joy. Boy, comparison is the thief of joy. It's very true. You're very true. Lorraine. Hello, Lorraine. Lorraine says, thank you for these great live lessons and the great DVDs. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say. Okay, cool. Okay, so we got, Kai is here from Germany. Loy Jade is here from the Philippines. When one has a membership, is there a way to get feedback from you? Well, that's a hard thing. We've talked about that before, and I know, some other sites have tried to do this feedback thing, but it's a lot of work. Maybe if you chose only, 10 people a month, but then everybody else gets bummed out because they're not getting chosen, and I haven't figured that out yet, although, it would be a nice thing to be able to do for sure. What to do for... Sorry, they're scrolling by so fast. Somebody said something about developing the pinky. Do a lot of legato work. Do lots of that kind of stuff. Do a lot of legato stuff to develop those. Okay? Greg says, I saw you with Grim Reaper. Where are you? There you go. I saw you with Grim Reaper in San Francisco a while back. Thank you. Yeah, the Grim Reaper tour was a lot of fun, and I got to see a lot of people, which is really great. Hopefully I can go back out again sometime soon. Let's see here. Oh, thank you, Doug. Doug. Man, I haven't talked to Doug in a long time. I hope you are well, my friend. Gosh, I haven't seen Doug in forever. Doug and I used to have a radio show that we used to do together. I miss you, Doug. You're a great guy. What do I think about Tom Morello? Again, Tom Morello is a very, very smart, musically, he loves music. He's very knowledgeable about music, writes incredible music. I'm a huge Rage Against the Machine fan. I love Rage Against the Machine. Do I go to him for like solos per se? Not really, but some of the stuff, like if you listen to, I'm trying to remember. There's a solo that he's got that's just super jazzy. And so I know that he's got skills. I just think a lot of the stuff doesn't require some of the skills that he does. But yeah, anyway. Metal beginner. Okay, good. Well, that's what I like to hear. I'd like to see a rhythm course in metal. Good. Well, look at this. So now I've got some things here. So people are looking for metal. I'm all about learning or teaching metal. So maybe we're looking at a metal rhythm course would be really great. Okay, look at this. A metal songwriting course, perfect. And we got here, rhythm course in metal, but soloing for metal, okay? Well, I tell you, this new Rock Licks course, Carl, definitely has some stuff you could use for metal soloing. This Rock Licks course that we're talking about, there's a lot of different classic licks in there too, but there's a ton of modern licks in there. So you could use that stuff for rock, and I use it for all my metal stuff. The stuff that's in there, I very much use. Let's see here. Legato techniques are always helpful. They are crucial, I would say. For me anyway, legato is absolutely important to me. How much patience do I need to get faster at playing? Which scrolled by so I can't find it, but a lot. You need a lot of patience. Hey, everybody on Instagram, I see you down there. You are welcome. It says thank you for the lesson. You are welcome. Let's see here. I got to get going here because I am way far behind on these questions here. Would love to see a songwriting course. I'm actually working on a riffs songwriting course right now. Let's see here. Jason says, let's see what Jason says. Oh, okay. Again, many thanks for the full access I won last week. I'm like a kid in a candy store. If you don't win, I recommend buying. Thank you, Jason. It's very kind of you. Sam, I'm just looking around. Sorry, guys. I'm not gapping out. I'm just trying to see what we got here. I've noticed so many great guitarists hold their pick different. It seems how holding your pick sounds so good. Just wondering how you hold yours. What I do when I hold the guitar pick is, if you think about it like me pointing at you, and I put the pick on the tip of my finger like this, and the pick is also pointing at you. Again, this is a generalization. And then you turn, and my thumb comes around the top. Now, when I hold the pick, I hold it with very little sticking out the bottom. Okay, I don't hold the pick in the center at all. And I used to use really small guitar picks, but I found that the normal size ones just tend to fit better, even though I have small hands. I like the way that feels. And the tip of the guitar pick needs to be, for me, it needs to be sharp, you know? Again, it doesn't need to be, you know, like a triangle necessarily, but you don't want like a Jazz 1 or Jazz 2, if you know what those are like, because then you don't get any aggression you don't get any percussion from the sound of the string. So the sharper that point is, the more you're going to get that percussive sound when you play. So you get that sound. See what I mean? So that's what I like. And for, you know, rock stuff, blues stuff, whatever it is, if I start playing, you know, I like to use pinch harmonics. So I like to be able to grip in and really strike that string. And I find that sharper tip of the pick really does help with some of that stuff. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. Let's see here. Sharpness adds to the attack. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Let's see here. We'll keep going here. Oh, this is a good question, if I'm reading it right. Are online classes just as good as in-class? It depends on where you are in your journey, Sam. So, like, for instance, if you were an absolute beginner, there's two scenarios here. If you're an absolute beginner and you don't really have anybody around that can teach you, or you don't have a good selection of teachers wherever it is that you live, online is great. But if you're a beginner, an absolute beginner, I think taking some in-person lessons are really important if you can find a good teacher, because the teacher can physically help you go, you know, touch the guitar, move your fingers, you know, help you strum. Like they can sit there and be with you until you figure out some of those things. Because so many of the beginning stages of things that we learn on guitar can take a lot longer than they probably need to get to the kind of the next level. And again, I'm not saying beginner to intermediate. I don't really use those terms, but we know what a beginner is somebody who has never played before that just started playing. An intermediate player, it's really hard to say what that is, but we know what a beginner is. And if you're a beginner and, you know, like trying to read out of a book or something, which is what I try to do, was just a nightmare. It was not beneficial for me, and I wasted time. Where if I'd had a good teacher that could have said, hey, no. If you want to play G, do this, or these are things that you should practice together, or whatever. That's a really important thing. It's a wonderful question. So, what's the best place to pinch to get great pinch harmonics? Well, we went through this a couple of live sessions ago, so hopefully you go back and watch that. But basically all you want to do is you just want to get used to turning the guitar pick. That's all I'm doing is turning the pick and touching the string with my thumb. When I'm done picking, the thumb touches at the end and causes the harmonic. And usually, you're going to get them somewhere around the middle position pickup to the middle of the neck pickup are going to be the most prominent ones. So hopefully that kind of helps. What kind of guitar? This is an Ibanez Gem. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but that is what this is an Ibanez Gem. Let's see here. Tony says, I'm subscribed to Elevated Jam Tracks on YouTube. Great backing tracks. You are absolutely right. I love those guys. They do really great work. You are one of the best guitar teachers. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say. And it really is. Thank you. I'm not always good with compliments, but I really do appreciate that I'm able to help people. Speed or melody, which is most important during a solo? For me, a little bit of both. You gotta have melody. You don't always have to have speed. You gotta have melody, but it depends. If you're playing a Slayer tune, you don't really need a melody, right? I mean, it depends on the style of music. But if we're talking just, epic songs with great solos, I think you need both. Melody connects to the music. Speed creates energy. And people forget that. It's not just about, trying to be a virtuoso, as somebody had said earlier, or something like that. It's about dynamics. And if you've ever heard me talk about this, I always talk about dynamic contrast. If you did something slow, you got to do something fast. If you did something high up on the fretboard, do something lower. If you played a lot, stop playing for a little while, right? If you played pentatonic, move into diatonic. If you can contrast, you can keep it interesting for you and for the listener. And that doesn't mean like every tenth of a second. It just means, in general, if you keep trying to change things up, it just makes it more interesting. And there's no doubt that speed adds energy. Like if my entire solo was going, let's take it to the opposite extreme. If you played, because people sometimes will say, well, slow is better than fast. Well, then why not play one note every 16 measures, right? And nobody would do that for every solo that you do. You would play faster. So all we're doing is putting a limit on what is fast. If we're doing whole notes for the entire solo for everything we ever do, it's going to get old after a while. You'd want to play half notes or quarter notes. Heck, you might want to do some eighth notes, right? So, we have to be careful with that. Is it possible to play too fast, too much? Sure, for some people. For some people, no. That's why, again, I always try and remind people that we don't want to force our thoughts on somebody else's playing journey because we don't know what they want. I don't know what everybody else wants. I just know what I like, and that's what I want to play. And if somebody likes it, great. And if somebody else doesn't like it, that's fine. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I'm cool just being me, right? And that's what I want you to do too. But, every cool solo, in my opinion, has an ebb and flow, okay? And that includes slow and fast versus melody versus whatever. So, okay. Jason says, it's my excuse for not being able to play that quickly. Yeah. And it's, again, we live in a world now where we base talent on how fast somebody can play or something like that, where if you go back 30 years ago, it wasn't really like that. And I think, again, there's players that are coming out now that redefine some of those things. I'm just telling you all, don't get locked into these terms. Just do what you do the best way you do, as best you can do, the way you want to do it, and be happy with it. You know what I mean? Because everybody's different. There's probably somebody out here right now on all these people that are here that is a huge B.B. King fan, and somebody else is a huge Billy Gibbons fan, and somebody else is a huge Yngwie Malmsteen fan, and somebody else is a huge Mateus Sasato fan, or whatever it might be. There's just lots of really great players out there. So, and I love them all. They all just meld together, and I utilize what I can in my playing from their stuff. Some of it I can use, some of it I can't, but I try and grab from anybody, anywhere. Okay? What's my thoughts about Ace Frehley? Ace Frehley is the reason I play guitar. That's my thoughts on Ace Frehley. I adore Ace Frehley. I was a huge Kiss fan, and emphatically grabbed guitar because of Ace Frehley, for sure. So how is he as a player? Well, if you listen to that early stuff, again, you listen to... all those kind of things that he would do. Lots of different cool little patterns and things like that. Again, this is the 70s and it was Kiss, so they weren't looking for shred, right? It was a little bit different kind of thing, but absolutely, sorry about that. Absolutely love Ace Frehley. Okay? Am I still playing with the worship team in church? I'm playing on a worship team, but not in the same church. I was playing at a very, very, very large church, and now I play at a very, very, very small church. So, I think I just brought that back up again. Sorry about that. Do you hybrid pick as well? I do some hybrid picking. I don't do a lot of hybrid picking. That's something that I wish I would do a little more, but I haven't really, because of the way I've learned how to play. It's not really a tool that I utilize much, but Paul, here's Paul saying that. But it's certainly something that I think is awesome, and it opens up a lot of new possibilities for sure. So, okay, everybody, we've been on here a long time. I want to give you the opportunity to win, okay? So what we're going to do here is when I say go, don't do this before that, but before I'm going to say go, and you're going to type in hashtag GuitarZoom, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you are, you're going to type in hashtag GuitarZoom space, and you're going to leave a little note on why you want the membership, why you want a GuitarZoom membership. And then the guys at GuitarZoom are going to choose 5 winners, okay? And then I'm going to name the winners. And then what you need to do is just contact support@guitarzoom.com. And so if you win, you're going to contact support@guitarzoom.com. And let them know that you're a winner, okay? So get ready. You can prep without hitting enter. You're going to put hashtag GuitarZoom space, put the reason why you want a membership, and when I say go, we're going to go, okay? And then I'm just going to hang out here a little bit, okay? Ready? And go! All right. So we'll let you all put those in, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, okay? And we'll see what we get here. We'll see who wins one of the 5 things here. Here we go. There they come. Okay, I see them on Instagram, and I see them on Facebook. I see them on YouTube. Perfect. This is awesome. And we could only have 5 people win, but I sure hope that you win. Okay? I don't know who they're going to pick and why they're going to pick. I just smile and strum. That's what I tell people. Okay? Because I never win anything. That's me too. I don't ever win anything. Actually, I won at pull tabs about a month ago. Maybe 2 months ago I won at pull tabs. It wasn't much, but I won, which is kind of nice. Very cool. Very cool. Will you keep going? I'm going to give you just a minute here. Okay. All right. We'll see who they choose. Keep them coming. Okay. I suppose I could play a little bit. enough of my yapping. Okay, so let's see what we got here. See where we are. All right. No, that is not what we need. Okay, so we'll give them a couple minutes, see what they come up with winners, and we'll keep going here with some questions. Perfect. And you can keep adding stuff. I don't know when they're going to pick the winners, so, but we'll keep going here. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. I'm just reading some of your comments. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Lorraine. That's very kind of you. That's cool. Okay. So anyway, hopefully that answered some of your questions, got some ideas out there. Just so you know, too, everybody, every Monday, just about every Monday, I go live in the morning. Usually it's somewhere around 8:30 Central Time, because I'm in Central Time, actually. So it's usually after I've gotten out of bed, taken a shower, got breakfast, watched a little news, and then I get over and start doing my thing. I go live on Mondays for this thing called Monday Guitar Motivation. So every Monday, again, not every single Monday because it depends on if I have time, but almost every Monday I go live and we have a chat about something for you to focus on for the week. Okay? So if you've never attended those, you can, Facebook or YouTube is where I'll be. And let's see, For the Love of Solo says, I know it's cheeky. Would you check out my playing on my profile? Sure, of course I will. For the love of solos. For the love of solos. Okay. For sure I will. Yep, absolutely. Did I get snow this weekend? No snow this weekend. We're actually back into normal weather, so we're getting 60s and 70s here. So I don't have to worry about having any more colds now that we're moving back. Okay, so we do have some winners. Let's see who we have here. So if you're all here, let's go ahead and do this because I don't want to keep you all day. We have, on Facebook, we have John Eidson, E-I-D-S-O-N, E-I-D-S-O-N, John Eidson. On Facebook, we also have Mark McCormack, M-C-C-O-R-M-A-C-K, Mark McCormack. On Instagram, we have Manuel Gallego, G-A-L-L-E-G-O. I'm so sorry if I'm not pronouncing anything right to anybody. On YouTube, we have Nathan Brandt, and on YouTube, we have Freddie Gutierrez, G-U-T-I-E-R-R-E-Z. You can see my Midwestern coming through here. So sorry if I'm butchering anybody's names. Those 5 people, I'm going to say them again, you want to contact support at guitarzoom.com and let them know that you won. Facebook, John Eidson. Facebook, Mark McCormack. Instagram, Manuel Gallego. YouTube, Nathan Brandt. And YouTube, Freddie Gutierrez. And again, I apologize so much if I'm butchering your name. Okay? So, cool. Well, that's it. Okay, we're done with these things. Please do me a favor one last time. We'll put the link in for Rock Licks. If it's something that you're interested in, please, please, please check it out. And if you're not, it's okay. Okay, just keep playing, stay positive, keep doing what you're doing. Most important, stay motivated, stay positive. It's okay to get frustrated with your playing. We all do. Okay, but if you're always frustrated, chances are you're doing something wrong. Okay, you got to look at it a little bit different way. Okay. So hopefully that helps you. Everybody, thank you so much for being on here. I'm going to take off now and get ready for, I actually have a meeting at 1 o'clock. So everybody take care, stay positive, and I'll talk to you.